Over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about this thing called Family Matters. Turn to your neighbor, tell them the family does matter. No, seriously, tell your neighbor the family does matter. And so we've been talking about family matters. And so over the past few weeks, I think this is our 6th week now, and today we start part 2 of a teaching called Can't We All Just Get Along? And we talked last week, and we said a couple of things last week, and I want to recap the very first thing I said when we started this teaching. We said that the number one problem in our nation today is the breakdown of the family. We also said if, in order for a family to be successful, everyone must be willing to change their thoughts, their opinions, and their behaviors. Everybody must be willing to do so. It's not I work on my attitude and you don't work on your attitude. Amen? And we said last week, can't we all just get along? The key is to effecting change in the midst of your dysfunctional family. First change is what? Be consistent. Be reliable, be honest, be trustworthy. Second one is have good character. Now I want to stop right here and pick up from last week, because all I said last week is have character. But I want you to understand there's good character and bad character. So I differentiate that this week and says, have good character. Whatever you say, mean what you say, and do what you say. Amen? Moving right along, we said, and be content, be satisfied. Rest in your mind, right where you are. No matter what is going on in your life, be content, knowing that God is still in control. But before we move on any further to what we have on the slide this week, I want to give you a point that the Lord gave me in the office while I was meditating to come out here. It says that you can't judge the success of a family by the size of their home. Let me qualify that. You can't judge the success of a family by the size of their house, is what I should say. Say, qualify that, Pastor. Okay, watch this. Go in your Bible. Now you actually have to look in your Bible to Genesis chapter number 6. I don't have this in my slide today, but the Lord gave us to me in the Bible. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 15. Read that, Bodhi, my official reader today.
And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it on. The length of the ark shall be there 300 cubits, and the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits.
Good. Now, you cannot judge the success of a family by the size of their house, because the ark was 625 feet long. It was 104 feet wide, but it was 62 and a half feet high. So now that was a pretty sizable house. It was the size of 2.25 football fields long. It was wide as a football field. But can you imagine how inside that ark smelled? Can I go deeper with this today? Can you imagine how the inside of the ark with all kind of critters and creatures smell, but it looked good on the outside? We have a tendency to make it look good to people. Can I take my time there? We have a tendency to make it look good. Our houses, we fix up the outside of our houses to reflect, and people should believe that because we get coins on each corner of our house, and we got a water table and we got a fountain in the front of our yard, then that means our family is doing well. Can I take my time today? We have a tendency to fix up the outside of the house, and people, when they drive by, see, can I tell you that there are some people who live in big houses, but they're sick in the mind? Sometimes we drive out east and we drive out west, and we go out west to the Groves, and we pass through by Nautica, then we go down by Old Fort Bay, and we come back round east, and we look at these homes, and the houses are big, but are they really homes? Are they really homes? I told you last week I have the smallest house in my community. In my community. For now. Because I putting on a piece bigger than the one I have. For now. For now. But I believe, without bragging or boasting, we have one of the strongest families in that same little house. You can't tell the success of a family by the size of the house, because some crazy folk live up in some of these places. They were long too. I got some folk around me who started marriages when they married. They came there married. And now Sam and I are the only ones there. People are gone. But their houses are so much bigger than mine. So much so that every now and again you gotta live like the horse with blinders on. Oh, I talk it. When I get home, I walk straight in my house. Good afternoon. And I walk straight in. I don't even look at, every now and again, when you look at some things, you begin to be covetous and jealous of what you think they have. Of what you think they have. You could live in a clapboard house. So they don't even say that no more, Clem. They don't say clapboard no more. You could have a clapboard house, but it could be clean and the floors could be clean. And you, oh, Jesus. You may live in a place where you sharing the bathroom and the kitchen with some folk, but your little space is clean and neat and you got peace of mind. You are content in that situation. It might be messy right now, but I'm content. At least I ain't losing my mind. Better be careful how you drive out east. Careful how you drive through Bodie Corner. Bodie got the biggest house around there with backup generator. And that's a song. That's a song. Bodie got a house with backup generator and everything, all plush. Bodie front room as big as my house. Y'all been to the party. That's why I carry you to the party so y'all can see. But Bodie have a double front room. We didn't even sit on that side. Nobody's over there. You better be careful how you go looking at people's house. I want that house. Do you know what the hell it comes with to keep that house? You better keep your little chicken coop and keep your peace of mind. Clap. You keep your little chicken coop and down here you got peace of mind. And they see you skipping every day. How is she making it? Because the success of my... What did I say? The success of... Y'all have it. Y'all having too much fun. The success of my family does not depend on the size of my house. That's what I meant to say. Now, some of the visitors laughing. They're like, why? This how y'all get down in church? My God. So, you cannot, if you have a family and you understand the working parts of any engine is not the outside of the car. You ever had a broke down body but the engine... Oh, Lord, I came to preach to some folks today. You ever had a break? They say, man, your body going, it's short. You say, don't worry about that. She ticking from the... Oh, Lord, I left here on Tuesday night to go back to work and everything was going on. And they say, pass the car low and all this stuff. They make fun that it low and all that. Yeah, some people who are, oh, man, to be near us on my left side here, say your car low and they don't want it low. But that's okay. But that same low car was a jet ski on Tuesday night. And I passed Hondas and Toyotas and all Jeep. I passed bus and all. And that same little car was like, excuse me. I don't mean to flash the water, excuse me. Because the function of the car is from the inside, not the outside, man. The function of your family is from in. I don't have to tell you what God called me to. You could see by the people around me. He called us to family. Look around you at the people who come by themselves and they bring their family. Marriages thrive because that's a part of family. So I'm not caught up on whatever anyone else is doing. All I know is every now and again, Clyde, you got to lift up the engine and you got to do a little tune-up to make sure the engine. You ever see Clyde little bubbler? That's been off the road for about 30 years. But it's back on the road now. Only Clyde one could drive it, but it's back on the road. That's okay. And Clyde will pass you, and some people sort out in the water, they sort out, but Clyde is riding through. You want an iPhone 5 and Samsung S4, 4, and then you want the 5, but some people got a little bubbler. Oh, how I talking today? Some people got a little bubbler. and the bubbler drop. And they walk, or they say, oh, my phone dropped. And they come back and pick it up because they know it's working. But there's some of us, oh, Jesus, that have an up-to-date phone. And if that drop, you say, oh, you screaming because you don't want that drop. The phone drop, you do like this. You try to catch that on your foot to cushion the blow because you know that if that drop, that's curtains. Fella, drop any little bubbler, show me. Pastor, I can drop my little bubbler. But understand, the success of a family is from the inside. If you want to know me, what do all people say? Come live with me. Come see how. Those of you looking for a church, if you want to know how to make your family work, we do family like Kentucky Fried Chicken. We do family. All this other stuff, I'm not concerned whether you have 2 side view mirrors or not. Is the engine working? If you press the accelerator, is it moving? Yes. Can you hear that? That's the sound of a percolating engine from the inside. Stop being caught up on whether or not you have coins on your building or you got the building looking so nice, but people suffering in them nice looking house. Some people live in the ghetto and get more peace of mind and people who live out east. Before I move on to my next point, have you ever seen the guy who live on the side of the road? He don't care whether school keeper scholars attend. He don't care. He is old enough to have a bill with his name on it. He owe BEC probably. He probably owe water and sewage. He probably owe something, but you think he care? He don't care. He have peace of mind. He just winging it. He get up every day and say, hey, it's a new day. What I can eat today? Some sauce. And he gonna hang around the sauce wagon. And then Clement show up there and just buy him a whole sauce. Say, what you like? I like sheep tongue. Buy him a sheep tongue. And then he take that and he go back where he come from. And he lay back out, and lunchtime he get back. You think he care about the stuff you care about? Man, he don't care. You ducking calls but call ID, you think he care? He don't have no phone. You sleep on the street one time in your plush house, and you gotta make it. You ever wonder how people is making it on the street all the time? And one person could be old, homeless one night, or have to sleep in their car one night, and they could die in their car, and this two could be on the road, on the street for 20 years. They content right where they are. They don't care what happened tomorrow. They're living for this moment. You better get your peace of mind, keep your peace of mind, and don't worry about what you look at, what the neighbors have, because every night they hurting by. Remember Bob? Anybody remember Bob? Hi, my name is Bob. I have a country house. I have part of a country club. I have 2 big cars. I have this. I have a mortgage. And how I do it? I am off the dirt in to my eyeballs. Can somebody help me? Bob's suffering right there. But you so concerned you won't be like Bob because Bob's house big. Oh, Lord, thank you. Every now and again, you got to check people, see how large their family is. That's good. Not the size, not 4 children like Bodie and Clyde them. No. Check, see the heartbeat of their family. See how their family functioning. Because you could be like James them with 90 children, but your family could be functioning. Coincidentally, Bodie, he have more children than us. Just so you know. Let's move on. Let's move on. Now to the point I have on the screen. It says the improvement and the advancement of your family is a what? It's a long-term investment. Anybody know what a long-term investment is? It's to invest over the long haul. So it's like stocks. Stocks go up, come down. So, but if you invest in a stock for 20 years or 10 years, you are not concerned, Clem, if it dropped today because you're saying, I have a long-term investment in this. You better be careful how you look at the small, short-term investments in your family and make big-time decisions. Let's move on. We got some stuff to say today. Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 says, I have fought a good fight. I've finished my course. I've kept the faith. Can I tell you that the finishing of the course is seen as you go through with a good fight. You can't celebrate at the end. The end of it is the long-term investment. When you buy stocks or you buy a piece of property, you may be like the person who bought property on Carmichael years ago, 30 years ago. And people laugh at you and you say, yeah, one day, this can be the city 2000. One day, banks will be down here. One day. And they say, you got to be kidding me. You say, yeah, one day. You be like Abraham. Abraham was a long-term investment. The word Abraham means father of many nations. So that's a long-term investment. And they're laughing. Laugh all you want. I have a long-term investment plan. Watch this now. Let's move forward. You can't judge, this similar, you can't judge the success of a family by the temporary situations they go through. Watch this. The relationship in your family will fluctuate from day to day, depending on the general mood, attitudes, and opinions of your family. Watch this now. Watch this. You cannot judge how strong your family are from day to day. Psalm says, is. Watch this. Because you have kids who will say to you today, you're the best mommy in the whole world. Daddy, I love you to death. Daddy, you're the bestest daddy in the whole wide world. Mommy, they broke the mold when they made you. You are the best mother. You have husbands who walk up their wives and say, honey, I love you, and I'll never be married to anybody else other than you. And wives will say, baby, in your eyes, I see something. I left that up to your interpretation. But tomorrow, these same children, can I take my time? Will come back and say, I hate you. Maybe teatless or behind closed doors. You don't know I hate. Mommy, you trying to keep me from something. You don't like me. You so mean. You're the worst person in the whole world. If you are judged your family by that high. See, families are like alternating current. It goes up and down, up and down. But there has to be a balance where you make decisions in the middle. Because if you make it on the high, that same child, you will buy them all you want that day. But the very next day, Clem, when they say what they say, you want to take everything, but I'll take, in fact, call a lawyer, I'll take you with my bill too. So you cannot make long-term decisions based on the fluctuating areas and situations of a family. You have to find a common ground. These same children. These same children will tell you one day, Mommy, you don't live your life. You know the head thing? You don't live your life. I's man, I's woman. Told you the other day I nearly lost my job. Walking in the hotel, they lost my good job, Clem. You could believe that. The pastor get fired from a good job. And all because I walked in the hotel and I forget that in the hotel tray is my co-worker, not my son. And so I said something. We were having a discussion, and we walk in the hotel, and he says, "Boy, you want to catch feelings now?" And I walk in behind him doing like this. And so I pull him on the side. I say, "Come here. Come here. I look around, make sure the wife say, "Hey, listen. I know you're my co-worker on this job. But don't ever get familiar with me like that again. Carry on. Have a good day." If I had grabbed him, they would have said, 2 co-workers fighting. Not the father chastising the son. There was 2 co-workers had a fight, and one is a pastor, and we fight him. End up in the punch. These preachers getting fired. My job. One of the worst things you can do when it comes on to family matters is make a permanent decision while viewing a temporary situation from either side of the spectrum. I told you what the spectrum is. The high highs and the low lows. When things are so good and so hunky-dory, don't buy just yet. Give some time. Think about what you want to buy, but don't buy yet, because you will buy the world on the highs. But by the same token, when things get low, probably say something like, "I don't know how I waste my money on you. Waste my time." So there has to be a dividing line that it crosses every now and again, but you stay constant. That's where you make decisions from, not when things are good. Jason and Inga are not here, and I hope they would be here today, because I plan to say this, so they could get the CD and they'll see it. I told every time we go through counseling, one of the things is I want to ask them, have you ever had a real disagreement? A real serious disagreement. You know, Sam give me my ring back, and I throw it back across the whole front room, nearly break something. Every now and again, Donnie is the only person who didn't give Claire his ring back. But every time something happened, something serious up. Donnie was so happy. Donnie said, "I get married. I don't care. I keeping this. You can get mad as much as you want. I keeping this ring." And so I wanted to ask them if they had a real disagreement before. The last counseling, they came into every counseling skipping. They bubbling. The last counseling they come in, they say, "What's happening?" Nobody talking. I say, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you." They say, "Pastor, you take it?" "Yes, I thank you." I close my iPad, that counseling session out the door. Good. Now you had a real disagreement. Now, here's where you determine whether or not I really want to be with him. It's not when things are high. Everything's so bubbly. Every peaches and cream every day. You might be dealing with a psychopath. All is well with me. I so bubbly. There's never a problem. That's a lie. There are times things happen in relationships. I need to know. See, anybody could be with you in the castle. But it takes serious and committed people to be with you in the cave. Lord, I need to know that when I'm in the cave, you are the right person to be with me. So sometimes I deliberately move out of the castle. I move from the castle, Tabitha. I move in the cave. And it don't look good there. I don't have no electricity. Things are bad. And I want to know, I ain't got no toilet. Things bad. If you run, leave me now. Watch this. If you run, leave me now in my cave stage. You ain't fit for the castle. Watch this now. Watch this. In the beginning. Somebody finish this for me. In the beginning. No, stop. In the beginning. In the beginning. In the beginning. Yeah, y'all too deep for me. Y'all too deep for me. I know I got you. Y'all too deep. In the beginning, when I met Sam, all I had was a green and yellow bicycle. Y'all too deep for me this morning. Can I talk to the real church today? What I had was no car. Watch this. Can I go a little deeper with this? Somebody, for instance, in the beginning. Good. Don't say it. In the beginning. What I had was a green and yellow bicycle. I had mother's wit. Couldn't read good, James, at all. Wouldn't read before nobody. You called me to read the scripture reading. I tell me 2 weeks in advance. I got to read it 50 times before I get. And when I step here, y'all looking at me? In the beginning. Watch this. But I had God's grace. Watch this now. Watch this. I had a willing heart to work. Hard. I didn't have everything, but I believed in working hard. And I made her a promise. And Claire, I can't look at you saying the promise, man. The promise was that I would never give another man the opportunity to do something for her that I wasn't prepared to do, Donya. Claire, you could write that down. You could use that later on. That's good stuff, Claire. That's good stuff. Now, watch this now. Can I go a little deeper with this? That's how it began. Can you imagine if while I was in my cave, she left all of this? Man, can I talk to the church today? Could you imagine if while I was living in the cave, she left? Can you imagine if she said, this dude too poor, I'm walking out on him, all of. I came to preach to some folks today. Understand that when you are in your cave, that's the time. I poking and checking you. I will make sure. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be with me. Because if you get agitated in my cave stage, you ain't ready for when I get up to the castle. If you can't understand this is a process, you're not ready for the castle. So every now and again, you have any money? No, I don't have none. Lord, forgive me. I have none. That's okay. First dinner, first lunch, the Delphi cafeteria. Some of you all don't know what Delphi cafeteria, right in the mall, right where Kelly's used to be. Where Kelly's is, right where QC something is now, QBC, Delphi cafeteria. She said, I will pay half the bill. I said, Jesus, I got one. I want to run, but you can't run now. You can't let us see. You believe that you got one. She always tell this story, but I got the mic this morning. Walking down the hill, we used to walk to catch the bus downtown, Clem, to watch the sunset. You have no money. Some of you looking for money to do what you need to do. Some of the best days we had is when we had less. Clap right there. Some of the best days we had is when we couldn't afford stuff. Mosaic for $70 a plate. Y'all want Mosaic? We had to put Kool-Aid in wine glass. Y'all ain't serious. Who I talking to in the house? Y'all ain't serious. Walking down the hill, Terry. I said, I feel it now. I feel this passion. I said, we walking back home now. because we didn't have no car, and I had a bike, and I couldn't tow her. I said, honey, I love you. She said, you can't love me. You was a boy, and I'm a woman. What in the world was that? Pastor coming out today. You can't love me. You was a boy. But she catch herself. Because I don't know, Clem, if she got a sight, a vision. She quickly said, baby, I love you. And I ain't leaving you for nobody. I know about the dark days in the cave. That's my point today. You cannot make a long-term investment, and when things drop off, you get shaky. That's my point to you today. And so now, every now and again, I take her over to Marina Village. I said, baby, pick any perfume you want. Any one you want. $104. Then AJ drop it and break it. And then I got it. Oh, Lord. That's another story for another day. But pick any one you want. Because, why? Now that I almost to the castle, I close now. I should bless you because you stayed with me in the cave. Now here's the other part. Be careful how you treat the people who stayed with you during your cave stage. Be careful how you treat them. The people who stayed with you in the cave and in the valley are the persons who should be with you on the mountaintop. King David, when he went into the cave of Adullam, one day he went out, and when he came back, he met his father, mother, he met everybody there. He said, why are you all here? He said, we don't have no place else to go. And so he began to be a king in the cave. Can I preach to you today and tell you that there's a king inside all of us, but he has to be prepared in the cave stages of his life. That was the Father's Day message. Wow. Claire, write that down. You can preach that. He has to be prepared during the cave stages of his life. Now, when you go through this in the beginning stage, there's another C word I'd like to bring to you today. We talked last week. Here's this one. Commitment. In your cave stage, it will cost you to remember your vows. For better or for worse. In sickness and health. For richer, for poorer. To love and to cherish. Till death us do part. Commitment will cause you to remember in the worst stages of your life the promise that you made to God and to the person that you're with. Cause you to remember that. Commitment. You got to be so committed. Things will happen. Watch this now. Let's move forward. Let's look at a couple of minutes. True commitment overlooks the short-term, what? Ailments in the family. True commitment. Because you understand that the shortcomings that you have today, if I work with you, you're going to always have them. My first little 5-minute sermon at Sister Renee, I walk up there with my little cue cards. With 3 or 4 of them, I stood behind the pulpit. And I read off them. Scared. But nobody knew Sam wrote them for me. How are you talking today? She wrote them. So true commitment will cause you to remember that, yeah, he may not be able to do it today, but that don't mean he's always going to have this deficiency. Amen? It will cause you to overlook the short-term ailments in life. True commitment. True commitment will remind you that if the righteous cry right in the middle of this, God can touch him right in the middle of this. How are you talking today? True commitment. Watch this. True commitment will cause you to remember that you have invested in stocks called what? The family. For how long? For the long term. I'm committed to seeing this family work. Every now and again, man, you got to look your wife in the eye and say, I'm committed to seeing this family work. Wives, sometimes you may not have what you need. But every now and again, you got to walk up to him and say, I'm committed to seeing this family work. I'm committed to seeing this family work. I'll ask you a couple questions today before we move on. So I got a couple of minutes. How committed are you to seeing your family through this short-term crisis? How committed are you? Pastor, how you know it's a short-term crisis? Every crisis has an expiration date. Say qualify that, Pastor. Easy. Solomon says there's a time and a season for everything. Amen. Under the sun. Amen. A time to born, a time to die. There's a time and season for everything. How committed are you to seeing your family through this short-term crisis? Every now and again, you got to have crisis management, James. You got to come together. You got to huddle. Anybody watch football? Every now and again, right before the play, the quarterback, who's the leader, calls them to a meeting, a short meeting called a huddle, and you get in there, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen because I got the plan. I got like 80 players on his wrist. I ain't looking at them. I'm calling an audible. I'm calling a plan. Every now and again, you got to pull your family together. Whether or not you may not have a husband, you may be a single parent, you got to pull your family together and say, you know what? We're going to get along. We're going to go through this crisis. We're going to make it through this crisis. Every now and again, you got to call a huddle, auntie. Come in. Let's have a meeting. Here's a short term, but we can make it. Here's what I see. Somebody got to be a seer. Somebody got to have the vision. Somebody got to see the end of the day and be able to stand up and say, we going to make it through this crisis. Question. What are you prepared to do to move your family from a dysfunctional family to a healthy, functioning family? What are you prepared to do? You have to do something. You got to be committed to seeing this thing through. What are you prepared to do? Some of us go out late, we party, we stay out late, yet still you want a healthy family. What are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do? You got to do something. Watch this now. Last question. Those of you writing. Do you even believe that your family can come through this short-term crisis? I believe the short-term Bodie who making all that noise over there, there's 2 weeks in a row I'm watching that Bodie. That's a short-term crisis. He soon be old enough to go to Sunday school. That's a short-term crisis. So I won't make an irrational decision by putting his father out of church. No. That's a short-term crisis. See? Now you won't call Dada because I talk with his daddy. Short-term crisis. Do you even believe that you could make it through this? Watch this now. There will come a time in your life when you will have to live by what you believe. Plenty talking, I'm talking this and talking that, but there will come a time in your life when you will have to live based on your belief. Say, qualify that, Pastor. Watch this now. Watch this. Easy. Hold on. Wrong place. Habakkuk. I didn't write that one down. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. But the just shall live by. No, that ain't what it say. Find the Bible, man. Don't quote what you hear them say. It says the just shall live by what? His faith. So I just told you there will come a time in your life when you will have to live by what? Who believe? You. Amen. When people done gone, you will be sustained by your belief. How are you talking today? You'll be sustained by what you believe. Pastor and gone, you don't believe what pastor believe? Yeah, well, you have to sustain yourself. Elder Claire don't, this is what Elder Claire believe. No, it didn't matter what I believe. It's what you believe in your short-term crisis. If you believe this crisis will kill you, then it will. You will live by what you believe. Hit this last one. I still got 4 minutes, 22 seconds. Relentless in your pursuit of family advancement. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Before I move to this point, I want to tell you something. The Lord placed it in my heart just now. I want to tell you something. I want to help somebody here in the house today. When you have a short-term crisis, always have the vision that one day you will come out of this short-term issue. Always look past this issue. For many of you, you've grown accustomed to me now having a PowerPoint. You're going accustomed to that. But did you know, you don't even know how terrified I was to put up something for other people to read. I'm standing here every Sunday morning preaching from my notes. But I was terrified, Donya, to put up something somebody else would read. That was a short-term crisis. And many times, we wrestle with ourselves. People don't have a chance to put nothing on us because we have so much things on our own self. How are I talking today? They don't have chance. That's what you want to put on me? Well, stand the line. I got about 30 things on me right now that I put on my own self. And I never thought I was good enough to put something up that you could read. Short-term crisis. But I thought about this thing called the family and what God called me to. And so you know what I did? I started with one slide. Whoever was here on Tuesday night, we were the guinea pigs for the one slide. Not 21 like I have today, one slide. And I didn't know how to work the PowerPoint. It was frustrating to have the people in the back and say, hey, listen, change the slide. Oh, Daddy, you only got one. Oh, okay. I didn't understand how to do it. So you know what I did? I knew I was in a short-term crisis, so I went and I studied. I learned how to build a PowerPoint presentation. I learned that you should not have so much on the screen because people got to read it. I learned these things. And so what I did was from one slide to 4. From 4 to 5. And so now I can do this now because I've walked over that short-term crisis. Relentless pursuit. Family. Look at this now. Psalm chapter 30 says, for his anger endured but for a moment. In his lips, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. I'll stop on this point today, but I want to show you this. Let's look at some people today that believed in the advancement of their family moving forward. They were relentless. Christopher Paul Gardner. Anybody knows who that is? Christopher Paul Gardner was the guy who they did the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. This guy slept in the subway station, in the bathroom, bathed in the bathroom with his son. He pursued. He was relentless. All kinds of stuff happened to him. Today, he's a millionaire, an investor. He's a millionaire because he relentlessly pursued his family to push his family forward. He did some things, and if you had not watched that movie, go there, get the DVD. See what a father did for his son. He was relentless in his pursuit. Walt Disney. Walt Disney was fired from as the editor of a newspaper. And listen to the reason why they fired Walt Disney. They said because he lacked imagination. Isn't that crazy? They said he lacked imagination, Clement. Years after that, Disney was sitting down on a bench, looking out at where Disney World is today. And a lady came up to him and she said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm looking at Walt Disney World." Years later. But they fired him, Lana, because they said he lacked imagination. Because they said that putting a mouse on the screen would scare women in the audience. Serious. Let's move on. Let's bring it home. Sidney Poitier. Or Poitier. One or two. If you know the story, I was intrigued to hear how he got started as an actor. He was a dishwasher. Couldn't read, like many people, but had the newspaper in his hand, looking at the newspaper every night. The man walked up to him and asked him, "What are you reading?" He said, "I don't know, because I really can't read." He says, "Would you like me to teach you how to read?" "Yes, sir." And every night after the restaurant closed for 2 years, he taught him how to read. Then he was reading the one ads in the newspaper. He saw a job, actor wanted. He said, "Well, I can act." He went down there, knocked on the door. The fella called him. He says, I came to audition for the job. He says, "Here, take this script. Read it. I'll read one part, you read the next part." He began to read. The fella said, "You are no actor." Grab him by the back of his pants, threw him out, and said, "You are a dishwasher." He said, but what bothered him, he says, two things. He says, one, how did he know I was a dishwasher? And he says, if he did not know I was a dishwasher, the second thing was, he didn't cap my life. How I talk it? He didn't tell me what he think I'm going to be. So he says in the street, shame, that day in New York, he made the decision that I was going to be an actor. Years later, Sidney Poitier won the Academy Award, first black male ever. Turned around and the same dude who hauled him up by the seat of his pants hired him and made him a millionaire. How are you talking today? Turn around. He was relentless in his pursuit to advance his family. You can't let people tell you what you can be in life. People don't have the authority to speak over your life to tell you what you can be. Last one today. J.K. Rowling. Anybody know who she is? She is the woman who wrote Harry Potter. First book she wrote, she was unemployed, on welfare, single mother. 12 publishers, 12 turned her down. 12. Today, she's the first millionaire author in the world. 12 people turned her down. But she was relentless in her pursuit to move forward. What are you prepared to do to see your family advance? What are you prepared to do? Are you going to let people tell you what you should be? What are you prepared to do? That wasn't supposed to happen. There you go. Okay. Good. This was supposed to happen. What are you prepared to do, Claire? Claire answered the question. He says, whatever it takes to see my family advance. Does anybody even believe today? Let me see your hands. That your family can come out of this short-term crisis. Let me see your hands.